Hello peeps, today we are working in concept 4, reading pay stubs. So please make sure that you already have your notes out, and you will need a calculator for this as well. So our objective today is that you will be able to find and identify information on a pay stub. The reason why is you will need to verify this information so you can be sure that you are being paid correctly. And part of filing your taxes is making sure that your W-2 matches the information on what you've been paid and what taxes you have paid out for the year. So this is a pay stub. A pay stub is a record of what you have been paid, the time period you've been paid for, and what taxes and other deductions have been taken out of your pay. So for our vocab, for line A, is first a pay stub. It's a record of what you're paid, how much you paid in taxes, and you should save and file with your taxes at the end of the year, so that if you get audited, you have these to support your W-2 and your tax filing documents. You will not submit these to the IRS, you just save them in case you need them. If your employer gives you your pay stub online, you will want to make sure that you download those before you leave any of your employers. So if you're going to be quitting your job, you want to go through and download all of those so that you have access to them if you need them. The next one is pay period. The pay period is the calendar days for which you are being paid. So I am paid monthly, so my pay period for October is October 1st through October 31st. If you're paid bi-weekly, then it just changes, depends on what days you're being paid in that pay period. C, our next vocabulary word is gross income. This is the amount that you earn before taxes. So if you're paid hourly, the gross income is your hours times the rate that you're getting paid for those hours. But then you have your deductions. So our next vocab word is deductions. These are things that are subtracted from your gross pay. They include taxes, insurance, your 401k, but they can also include things like life insurance, meals, if your employer provides them. It can include uniform expenses and things like that. The next one we have is net income. The net income is what you have left after you have paid your taxes and other deductions. Another name for net income is your take-home pay. So take-home pay and net income are the same thing. This is the amount that would be written on the check if you get a paper check, or the amount that would be deposited into your account if you have direct deposit. Finally, we have year to date, which is often abbreviated YTD. Make sure you have both of those written down. This is the total earnings or deductions from the beginning of the year up until this paycheck. So it gives you a running total of how much you have earned and how much you have paid in each of the different types of taxes and deductions. When you're looking at a pay stub, you'll want to make sure you are differentiating between the paycheck amount and the year-to-date amount. All right, so when I look at a pay stub, the whole pay stub is a pay stub. The period on this one right here is right over here. So I want you to label this. This is your pay period. For this particular pay stub, you're being paid from May 14th to May 25th. So this would be a bi-weekly schedule. The next one is your gross income. So on this check, I can see that the gross income is $1,312.50. That gross income comes from two parts. John, in this case, worked 80 hours of regular time, which allowed him to earn $1,200. He also had 5 hours of overtime, which gave him an additional $112.50, and those two things added together gives us our total gross pay. His year-to-date gross income is over here. So this entire section is year-to-date totals. So his year-to-date gross income is $9,800. The deductions all of these right here are your deductions. Sometimes they're all together in this, like they are on this one, and sometimes they separate them into two categories, one for taxes and one for things like insurance and other benefits that you might be paying for. So on this, I can see that John's total deductions was $255. He paid $130 in federal tax, $52 for FICA, which is Social Security and Medicare, $92 to the state, and then this SDI is state disability insurance, which he paid an additional $35 for. So that's not something that we would see in our state. Unless you elect into it. Our employers do pay workers' comp for us, but our employers have to pay that, not us. Okay, the next thing is our income. So deductions was D. And then our net income is F. On this one right here, your net income is at the top. You'll notice on each of the pay stubs you do in your homework today that they're a little bit different. So you have to look around and find the net amount. So John is going to see a check for $1,003.40, and that's what he's going to use to make his budget for his personal expenses. And then finally, we talked about the year-to-date. We can see the year-to-date totals over here. All right, the last thing we need to talk about is calculating the percent of income deducted for different expenses. So the formula that we're using is the percent deducted is equal to the deductions that we're looking at divided by the gross pay multiplied by 100. So we want to know what percent of income was deducted for all deductions. So because I am looking at all deductions, I am going to use this number right here, and I'm always going to divide by the gross income. So what we have is $255 divided by $1,312.50. So you're going to divide those, multiply by 100, and we can pull up our calculator here. Never mind. So I get that 19.43% of John's income is being deducted for all of his deductions, for all of his taxes. Okay, 19.43%. So let's look at the next one. What percent of income was deducted for taxes? So our taxes, because we're looking at all taxes, we're not including the disability insurance. So we're going to add up these three taxes together, get that total, and then we will find the percent deducted. So for this problem, it looks like we've got 130 plus 5210 plus 92, and we're going to figure out what that equals first. All right, so here what we're adding is we've got 130 plus 5210 plus 92, and that gives us 274.10. Now, I do see that that's more than the total deductions. There's something that's going on this pay stub. I didn't catch it until now, and I can't change what's printed in your paper at this point. So we're just going to run with that. It's 274.10 for our total taxes. So we're going to take that number and we are going to divide it by the gross income. Okay, so that dividing, it's going to give us a decimal. I want that changed to a percent, so we're also going to multiply by 100. So anytime I'm asking you to find percentage, you should divide and then multiply by 100. It doesn't matter what we're finding, it's always going to be a divide problem and then a multiply problem. So when I find this, I find that John is paying 20.88% of his income into various taxes. All right, finally, what we want to talk about is the federal income tax. So what percent of income was deducted from the federal income tax? I'm only looking at the $130. So on this, what we're going to do is we take our deductions, which we only are concerned with the 130. We're going to divide that by the income, $1,312.50, and then multiply that by 100. So as you can see, what I get here is $9.9%. So what that's telling me is that John is paying an average tax of 9.9%. Even though John is in the third tax bracket and there's a portion of his income that's being taxed 12%, overall he's really being taxed 9.9%. This is called the effective tax rate. Okay, your effective tax rate says we know that we're in different brackets and some of our income falls into each bucket, but overall, this is the percentage that we're paying. So that is all for today's lesson, all of your new material. My expectation today is that you complete your 4.4 worksheet, correct it, and fix any mistakes that you find. So you'll be looking at 2 pay stubs, finding the information, and then calculating some of these percent deducted problems. Once your assignment is completely 100% correct, then you're going to turn it in, and you can work on missing assignments, play a game quietly on your phone, or take a nap. What you should not do is leave class early, crowd by the door, or be disruptive to people that are still working. If you have any questions, you can go and check with Mrs. Church in V4, or you can wait and follow up with me on Thursday.